Hello, welcome back to the channel. We're going to create a slideshow, a strip of images designed to be rearranged to create a ranking in response to a question. To start, we need to enter our name so it's known who this response is from. Then we can rearrange these items shown here. It's designed so that when we hover over one of these elements, it zooms in a bit. Up here, we can see the prompt asking us to rank the fruits according to our preference. For example, I really like watermelon, so I'll come here, move this a bit, and put it first. I also like bananas a lot, so I'll put that here. After that, I like apples, then oranges, and lastly pears. This is something that's usually not possible in Google Forms, so I find it very useful because there are some types of questions that can only be answered this way, or it's more useful to answer them this way. Once we have all these elements, we hit Submit and get a confirmation of submission. This information will be sent to a Google Sheet that we've prepared in advance, and I'll show you how to set that up. To create this application, we need to create a new Google Sheet document. Let's name it Strip and add some columns here. I'll copy them from another file, and you can write them down. Here is where the name of the user will go, and here the answer associated with each user. We'll add a title here. For the example we just talked about, let's call it Fruit Priority. Here, we'll add the prompt we want the person to follow. As we saw in the previous example, we can ask them to rank the fruits based on how much they like each one. In column F, we'll add the images using links to images on the internet. For example, if we want to find an image of an apple, we'll go to Google Images. Select the one we like. Right-click on it, copy the image address, go back to our table and paste it in that place, and that's it. In the next column, we add the identification associated with that image. It's the name we want this image to have once the user answers. Following the example, we'll write Apple here. These two columns are here so we can adjust the height and width of each image in pixels. As shown in the example, let's set it to 200 pixels by 200 pixels. This is how we complete this sheet. To save time, I'll copy and paste the configuration I had done in the example, including the links for all the fruit images and all the names I had included. It's very important to respect the rows and columns where each of these titles was placed, or the application might fail. We can enter as many images as we want and get as many responses as we want. Now let's go to the Extensions tab and click on AppScript. Then we wait for it to load. We'll have this usual file called code, and we need to add an HTML file called index. In the code file, we'll paste a code that I have saved, and I'll leave it available in a link in the description. It's very easy. For the index file, we'll do the same with a code that I'll also leave in the description. Once we've done this, we click this button to save the project, and that's it. We just need to deploy the application. For deployment, we go to Deploy, New Deployment, wait for it to load, select the type of web application, open this tab, and enable it so anyone can use it. This way everyone can have access. Then we hit Deploy. Now it will ask us to grant permissions. It will ask us to authorize access. We authorize it. we have to log in from our account. It will give us the warning that this application is not made by Google because we're making it ourselves. We click here on Advanced and we go to the Untitled project. We wait and confirm the permission. This can be done with any Gmail account. If you're concerned about privacy, you can use a secondary account or create a new one to keep your personal data completely separate. Here's the link with the app already working. We can copy this link and send it to anyone we want, and also by clicking on the same link, we can open our application in another tab. Let's wait for it to load. And there it is working. As I mentioned before, we have to enter the name as the unique identifier, and in this area we can rank the fruits as we want and submit the response. It's very important that if the user tries to submit the response without any kind of identifier, the system will warn them to complete that field to continue. Finally, I'll show you how the data is stored. As an example, let's enter the name Peter. Then we rank the list of fruits, with the banana in the last place, and send our response. We see the confirmation that the response was sent, and if we go to our spreadsheet, we see the order in which Peter entered his response. The banana is the one he likes the least. It's the one that ended up last. We can also change these names to whatever we want, for example numbers. We go back to our application, reload the page, and move the apple, which corresponds to number 1, to the last position. We put Bill as the name and send it again. Now the responses are entered as numbers, and the number 1 is at the end of the sequence. As I said before, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get the code for free, and if you wish, you can also contribute a couple of dollars, which are very helpful for me. If you have any suggestions or encounter issues with the app, please let me know in the comments. This is a very basic app. There are many improvements that can be made, like programming it to send emails automatically or adding other questions. If you're interested in me making another video expanding on those topics, please leave a comment.